With great responsibility comes the great power. The point is whether the talent and the actions both are matching to produce the result. Both your talent and actions should produce the value that organization need in order to promote you. In my last role in last organizations, I had an opportunity to lead a very big team. While I was leading that team, there were many people who were working really hard, and they were expecting a growth in their career from time to time, just being in 1 year, 2 years in the project, and people wanted some growth in terms of promotions, growth in terms of the salary and so on, right? This is very obvious when you have a big organizations, people are working in a very big teams, and people expect the growth after certain times, while the 1 or 2 years is honestly very short time to probably expect a growth. That's another part. But the point is not about they asking for the growth. The point is whether the talent and the actions both are matching to produce the result. Both your talent and actions should produce the value that organization need in order to promote you. Let me explain you in another example, or with a very short story. Everybody knows Stan Lee. Stan Lee is a creator of Spider-Man, Marvel, X-Men, Fantastic Four and so on. And he has his admirers across the world, of course. One of the admirers is brain coach Jim Kwik. When Jim Kwik happened to meet Stan Lee in one of the show, he kind of went ahead in his car along with Stan Lee, and he happened to ask this question to Stan Lee. So, which character do you like? And Stan Lee replied, Iron Man. Wow, that's great, Jim said. So immediately Stan Lee asked, so Jim, which character do you like? And Jim had kind of grown up reading the comics. He had dyslexia, the learning disability, which he overcame by reading comics and learning through that. So he immediately replied, I love Spider-Man. And immediately Stan Lee said, oh, the great power brings great responsibility. How true is that? So I'll just invert that entire sentence. With great responsibility comes the great power. And that is what should be true for the organization, aspiring, ambitious people who want growth and promotions in their roles. With great responsibility comes the great power. Unless you take the responsibility, there is no opportunity could be presented to you in terms of your growth unless you are connected to the right people. But that's not the way you should grow in the organization. That growth is very shallow. After certain time, you will anyway come to know that that growth was shallow. So the point is, you must try to take the responsibility and then execute that responsibility beyond your role. That will make you eligible for that growth. So 3 ways you can do that. Number one is going beyond your roles and responsibilities, helping others, stretching yourself a bit. Okay, when you stretch yourself a bit, people recognize you. Okay. Second, enhancing your capability and capacity. What do I mean by that? When you enhance your capability, you are expanding your horizon, you're learning, and that's what is making you eligible for that next level growth. How do your boss work? How do your leaders work? How do they see the problem like you see? How do they communicate? All this is your capability enhancement. When I say capacity is your productivity. How you can do more work in less time. That is your capacity. That's your productivity. If you enhance these two aspects of your role, obviously you will be in the limelight for the eligible growth. And third and the most important one is create value. Everybody works hard. Everybody loves to probably claim that I work for 10-12 hours when the client needed it, when my process needed it, when my boss needed it. I was working really hard. Working really hard is not bad. However, your work should produce the value. For example, if you are probably claiming that I completed 100 odd invoices process, what does it mean? If that 100 odd invoices means only 1% of the total volume that you are talking about, then you have not done enough in your team. If that 100 invoices is covering 20% of the work and value, that becomes your value add. If that 100 invoices are complex enough that nobody else can do than you, that becomes your value. That's where you get recognition. So people in the mid-management from the 5 year to 20 years of experience, all of them are in that situations. They are struggling, they are working really hard, they are putting in a lot of efforts, they are putting a lot of hours, 10, 12, 15 hours in a work. However, producing no value, it means that you are losing the chance to grow in the organization. If you implement these 3 ways, I'm sure you will be able to create your chances to grow in the organization. I hope this is helping you. So before we move on to the next video, let me ask you these 3 questions, and if you're bold enough, please comment below. First, what are the ways you can increase your capability and capacity? Second, how do you innovate on a daily basis? How do you evolve yourself from day 1 to day 10? Third, what are the values that you can create in your current role? If you like this video, do share with others and help them move up the ladder in the organizations. Thank you. Stay blessed.